An investigation is currently underway to determine what exactly caused a Putco bus to burst into flames 2 weeks ago. 6 people were burned beyond recognition when the bus they were travelling in caught fire on Moloto Road. Well, ENCA's Kailishle Kumalo is following that story for us and brings us an update. Kaya, good day to you. And let's talk about first just a reminder of what happened in this tragedy and what's being done about it then.
Well, that's right, Yuveka. It was quite a very horrific crash. And in fact, at this point, the cause of the accident really remains unknown. And it's been 2 weeks now since this heinous accident happened. But of course, it's happened in one of the most notorious stretches of the roads in South Africa, the Moloto Road. It's known for some time that it's always been very notorious with so many fatal crashes. But to look at where it is now in terms of the investigation, we're joined by the MEC for Transport here in Gauteng, Mr. Mamabolo. So, MEC, thank you so much indeed for your time. So, there was a clear undertaking that an investigation will be undertaken to try and establish the underlying cause behind this horrific crash. At this point, do we know what exactly happened?
Well, firstly, let me just say that the latest update with respect to the tragic fire accident that involved Putco bus, in which 6 people lost their lives and others were injured, is that we, as the provincial government of Gauteng, have appointed Advocate Mayron, who is also a senior counsel, to lead a team of investigators. And this team will also include experts on fire, including detection, prevention, and this team by Advocate Mayron will deal with the root cause, what actually caused the fire, and it will also look into the circumstances under which the fire, grew and took place and happened. It will also look at whether there's any form of liability on the part of Putco, which of course will be based on a determination of negligence. And of course, if reasonable steps were not taken, that could have prevented the fire from even growing or even affecting people. We will then also receive recommendations, because we're not just looking at the fire incident as it happened. We also want to be empowered on how to prevent this type of matters moving forward. Let me also say to you that we are giving this team 1 month strictly. The Advocate Mayron team of investigators will have 1 month within which to complete their work. And I must say that it is very much important for the families that have lost their loved ones, and may their soul rest in peace. For the people who are injured, for the people who are exposed to the risk of being burnt by fire, all of them will want to know nothing but the truth and the truth only. And it is for that reason that we are taking this initiative of appointing an investigator, and I'm pleased that with the State Attorney's Office, we have completed the appointment. They are starting their work already this week. And I must also mention that it is also going to be very much important for anybody with information, the eyewitnesses, the people who saw what could have happened, to come forward and work with Advocate Mayron and be able to, help us. We also call on Putco to cooperate. We know Putco has appointed their own investigators, but we can't leave a matter as serious as this only in the hands of Putco, because in that way they can become the referee and the player. So we need a process such as this one to also give the comfort that Putco is not investigating itself. And let me also just say that, the challenges on the Moloto Road requires multiple solutions. We need the rail corridor to also be, speeded up. The expansion of the road, which as the province, together with other provinces of Mpumalanga, of Limpopo, we have handed over to national government led by Honorable Minister Fikile Mbalula and Sanral. And we also encourage all the public transport operators, be they taxis or buses, to also obey the rules of the road. We also law enforcement to do their part. So all this hybrid of multifaceted, multidisciplinary interventions together, they will bring once and for all a great relief to the people that are daily commuting on that road. So there's no one single solution or one button to press. We need all these interventions together. But to the families that lost their loved ones, to the people who were injured, to the people who, were able to escape the fire, to all of them we say, we are very much pleased at this point that we have now appointed a competent team that will be able to dig and deep dive into this whole issue. And
maybe just to come in, MEC, in terms of the modalities of now this competent team you have appointed, how is it going to work? Is it going to be more like an inquiry of some sort? Are they going to call up witnesses to come and tell their side of the story? So how is it going to work? And also just in terms of the terms of references, do you have anything to that effect?
Yes, so this is an open, transparent, participatory process. So the modus operandi and the manner in which the work will be done is such that we must call for participation, for information, evidence by those who have information. In addition to Putco, in addition to Putco's investigation. So there will be broad participation, transparency, openness. The families of the affected and those who were in the past should be taken into account. So they will also be allowed to come into the process, and we will make sure that all evidence that is required to tell us the truth is not left behind. So a month really should be enough to accommodate everybody. The terms of reference in a nutshell, if I were to just summarize them or abbreviate them, is that we're looking for the root cause of the fire. We're looking for determination on any form of negligence and thus liability. We're looking at if there was a spark in the fire and there was a flame, how come it grew? How come it affected, it went into a blown fire that caught up the bus? For example, where were the protective things that could have been used to stop the fire? Was the bus compliant in terms of minimum requirements in case fire burn out? Because we know what can cause a spark of fire can happen, but when it happens, are the protocols in place? So that should be checked as well. And of course, as I said, the recommendations of what should we as government be doing to people that we give and entrust with the responsibility to commute members of the public. They are receiving money from government. How should we deal with that? Because when all is said and done, the subsidy that we are giving these bus companies is for the commuter and for the benefit of the commuter. It can't be right that the commuter's life is put at risk when government is paying money. So we also need to make sure, is the commuter getting the benefit of the subsidy? And are these companies doing what they are supposed to be doing? That is very much important as well to make a determination on, so that we can know what appropriate action to take.
And just once again, MEC, you alluded to the issue of the national perimeter, that Moloto Road, a lot of promises have been made, a lot of funds have been set aside to try and improve the conditions there. But what's the role of your department in terms of the provincial government's role, in terms of making sure that these promises are fulfilled so that this notorious road can improve?
Well, we as the provincial government of Gauteng, our most critical and important role in the whole issue was to do what other provinces also have done. Mpumalanga, Limpopo, the most critical issue was to sign off the necessary paperwork, handing over the road, because the road traverses the space, not only in Gauteng. So it was important that we do our part to give a sign-off. Of course, together with the other provinces, we also expect to be briefed on how far is SANRAL with the work it is doing, because each one of us as provinces is obviously interested in the position in our province. How far are we going to improving it? And in the IGR, Intergovernmental Relations meetings with the minister that includes state entities like SANRAL, we will consistently check where matters are. But I think at this point we are very much pleased that we were able to make that decisions and comply with the request that we hand over this part of the asset to national government so that it can sort it, work it out in the 3 provinces, and you don't have one province sorted and the other one being a challenge. Of course, our part came in a bit late, but finally it was done, and that was our most critical responsibility.
And still on key issues, MEC, when are the gantries falling in our highways?
Well, that matter has been dealt with quite adequately, and at this point we are, like everybody, waiting for the announcement to be made. But that matter is settled, sorted, and we are waiting for it. So I don't think at this point we need to comment on it because it has been fully ventilated.
All right, MEC.
For now, let's focus on Moloto Road, the potholes. And
actually, how's the pothole campaign going? It's a nightmare to drive sometimes in Gauteng.
You know, we are receiving overwhelming feedback from the people. People are happy. You can actually see everywhere we go, motorists, hoot, they wave. People are happy because we must prevent the collapse of the road network. We have seen in Mfuleni, if the road network collapses, it grinds to a halt the lives of people. People can't move. People who go to hospitals, who go to schools and all that. So what we are seeing is an overwhelming positive response from the people, from the municipalities we're working with, appreciating the good work that is being done to maintain fixed roads and make sure that we protect the shoulders on which the economy stands, and that is the road. And I'm appealing to everybody, including and particularly our municipalities, that the municipal infrastructure grant should really be deployed sufficiently to maintain the road work, because if it collapses, to pick it up, to bring it back, we have seen in Mfuleni, is the most difficult thing to do. So that is why we are working during weekends, because the weekdays are not enough. And during the week, we are battling with traffic, people going to work, to meetings, rushing. So weekends are more relaxed. We are able to do more work. We do good work. And that's why we can't waste one weekend. Every day it's important, because during the lockdown, we couldn't do this work. And that's why business as usual will not help us. We need business as usual, all hands on deck. Municipality, province working together. You can see even at the background, the team of municipality, the team of the province, all working together.
All right, MEC, thank you so much indeed for your time. So quite a very monumental task in the transport portfolio, quite a lot to do, but you've got quite a very important announcement that has been made by the MEC around the establishment of a team that is going to establish the underlying cause, looking at the circumstances surrounding the deadly crash that claimed over 6 lives by Moloto Road. So it's going to be really interesting, and the MEC also emphasizing that it's going to be a very impartial structure that's going to be delving into this particular issue.
Well, Kaya, I was just wondering, while you're still there, if this accident, and it happened 2 weeks ago, I have to wonder if that scene behind you there is part of the investigations. What are they hoping to find 2 weeks later on that site?
Well, you know what, Yuvega, it's going to be quite a very massive challenge, especially because when you look at the context of Moloto Road, so many fatal crashes have happened there. it's one of those roads in South Africa that has often been described as a hotspot, as it were. But of course, in terms of the investigation, they'll be looking at the causes, they'll be looking at the blaze that really just came out of the blue as to what exactly happened. But also, most importantly as well, they'll be speaking to the witnesses, the families as well will be brought in so that they try to get closure, because it's been quite a very difficult time, especially given what transpired in this particular crash.
All right, thanks very much there. On the scene there, ENCA's Kylie Khumalo.